Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
You join us at the perfect time, 50 minutes on the clock, and guess who has scored his second for Juventus?
Well, I mean, if you're listening in the car now, people are who they're going. Do you reckon they'll guess it right?
Yes.
They would.
Who else would you guess besides him? Who else?
How many Juventus players would the person in the car name without having to look up?
Dybala.
Yeah. Go on, Joe. You're in your car now.
Del Piero.
Think some of the veteran defenders. Any
Vialli.
Veteran, okay. Yeah, Bonucci, Chiellini. Okay, but no, it's Ronaldo.
Ravanelli.
It's Ronaldo. Yeah. It would be good. How far back do you want to go here? Zidane.
As far as like Liam Brady.
Juve. Yeah. But anyway, it was Cristiano Ronaldo, as you say, who has scored. Thank you, goal line technology. To be fair, with a good assist for goal line technology there. It was Ronaldo who scored a first half header, for people who maybe haven't heard. First half header at the far post to put Juve 1-0 up, 2-1 in aggregate, and then again he rose highest to meet across, and the goalkeeper sort of clawed it back from behind the line, because the goal line technology removes all these debates. It triggered the button on the watch or whatever it is, and the goal was given. So it was a valiant attempt by Oblak, but he couldn't keep it out. So it's now 2-0 on the night, 2-2 in aggregate, and we've got ourselves another, I suppose, Champions League epic, I suppose, in store. In terms of over the next 40 minutes, because now all of a sudden Madrid, really Atletico, who haven't really come out to play that much, they're still a complete control to go out there and score. But Juve are full of it now.
Atletico with 3 attempts across the whole game, none on target. Juve have had 11. So clearly Atletico have a decision now, and as we speak, they're more on the attack than they've been for a good chunk of this game. In fairness to technology, Dan, the old goal line technology has worked seamlessly.
You can't
instantly.
Yeah, I mean, people still try and complain sometimes. I always like the idea of the player the odd time going, what? But then, it's pretty clear. There is no, I mean, I know there's been glitches in Hawkeye at times. People have spoken about it at Croker and that type of thing, but it's definitely pretty flawless in this scenario here. So, I mean, there's no sort of VAR style debate. I mean, VAR has been used in the Man City game tonight for a goal review, and it's here to stay. But in this game, no, I think if anyone has a problem with goal line technology, I'd like to hear their convincing argument, because it removes any doubt over this topic.
Meanwhile, Manchester City named a pretty strong side. Aguero has scored twice for them this evening, penalty in 35 minutes, then a second just 3 minutes later, and then Leroy Sané just before the break, 3-0. They're 6-2 up on aggregate, so very routine, everything they would have been looking for against Schalke. The first leg was even strange that Schalke managed to score 2. It was an odd kind of game.
Well, I mean, it an amazing Sané free kick to really dig them out of a hole in it, but I mean, it has been very comfortable tonight.
Earlier on, I was speaking to Andy West about the Zinedine Zidane return. What was your initial reaction?
Yeah, I mean, it's just surprised, really, in the sense that what does he have to achieve there this time? Like he's done everything there before. I just thought the timing, I mean, naturally, I understand the timing from their perspective, but there's very little glory for him to salvage from the rest of the season. So there must be a project aspect to this that appeals to him in some way, that he can come in and try and salvage something from the season and go again next year. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the take is, and hear what Andy says. I don't know what the take is in Zidane's motivations for going there.
I think everyone's still a bit confused, as you hear Andy's as well. I mean, and the Champions League win last season overshadowed the 17-point gap at the top of the table, and they were a better team last year. Ronaldo gone. I don't know how many billions he's planning to spend this summer. He protested that there have been no guarantees given on the transfer front for the summer ahead, but you wonder what's changed with when he left and now. Well,
I just wonder, is this the best job he was going to get? And that's the thing, which just seems absurd, but I guess, he's at a certain level, and he was only going to go for an elite type of job. Maybe it did make sense, but we'll all be wise in hindsight if it flops and we say, well, he shouldn't go back, because he's going to have to deal with that if that's the way it goes.
So Andy West did join us earlier on to talk about Zidane. Here's how we got on. So let's talk about Zidane's extraordinary return to Real Madrid. Andy West is out there for the BBC. Andy, when the news came through yesterday, or when you first heard the news, was there a sense of shock? I mean, it's slightly surreal news.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody was surprised that he's coming back. There was no secret that Florentino Perez wanted him back. But I think most people expected that wouldn't happen. And even when the idea was first floated, I don't know, a week or so ago, that Zidane would be called upon, the expectation was, well, no, he's only just left. Why would he go back so quickly? So, yeah, it was a big surprise.
284 days to be exact after he walked out. Why did he walk out? 284 days on, have people been able to piece together different parts of the puzzle and give us a definitive reason or explain what the issue was?
I think it comes down to he knew the squad needed an overhaul and the president wasn't prepared to give it to him. Simple as that. I think with Cristiano Ronaldo going, as he by that stage knew that he knew that they needed some serious fresh blood, in attack. And they didn't get it, of course, in the summer. They only signed Mariano back from Lyon, who was hardly a heavyweight striker. So they need those goals to be replaced. If you lose Cristiano Ronaldo, you're losing 50 goals a year. And if you don't replace it, of course you're not going to be as successful. So now, obviously, there's a lot of intrigue about what is going to happen in the summer. A lot of expectation about Kylian Mbappe in particular. Will he be the one? Neymar maybe as well, maybe others, but I think we're very much expecting Real Madrid to make some big moves in the summer market. Yeah, well, they'll have to, really. He said yesterday at the press conference, I love the club, I couldn't say no to the president, Zidane, which begs the question why he left in the first place. Well, exactly, and that's interesting because he proved he can say no to the president when the president asked him to stay, and now he's coming back a hero, returning conquering hero after the failure of this season to rescue the day. His timing really is impeccable. Because he was also asked, has he been given any guarantees regarding transfers? And he said, no, and was fairly insistent on that. But clearly everybody at Real Madrid has realised that major surgery is needed. Yeah, you have to say that. You have to play the game. You can't, as a buying club, you can't go out there and say, yeah, we're going to buy some superstars this summer. That puts you in an incredibly weak negotiating position if you say it publicly. So they have to say that. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of old players in that squad as well who will need replacing. And it's going to be really interesting to see what Zidane does with some of the players who are already there, who've been expected to leave. Some who had thought to be safe, and others who are out on loan. Don't forget Mateo Kovacic at Chelsea. Will he come back? Even James Rodriguez, who's at Bayern. So there's a lot of players out there for Zidane to pick and choose from, not just through signing. Is there any sense Zidane was struggling with burnout or the stresses of the job? Because one of the things he said when he left was that he wanted to transmit serenity at work, but he realised he couldn't keep doing that, which does point to some kind of issue with the stress of what is politically, as well as every other way, a really difficult job. An incredibly difficult job. And if you look at the history of Barcelona and Real Madrid over the last, have been able to keep hold of managers for more than 2 or 3 years. It's the same at Barcelona, where Luis Enrique left after 3 years through the stresses and strains of the job. So did Pep Guardiola. Nobody stays at these clubs for too long because the day after day after day relentlessness is just too much to take. So he needed a break. Yeah. His relationship with Perez remains a very good one, that said. Yeah, he does. He was able to retain that relationship, which he has for a couple of decades, of course. Remember, his history as a player with Real Madrid. Perez respects him without any reservation, and that is a big part of it. When Perez respects you, then you are in a strong position with him, and he respects Zinedine Zidane probably more than anyone, even more than Jose Mourinho, who he wanted to bring back and no one else would let him. So that puts Zidane in a strong position, and I think Zidane realises as well that although Perez has his foibles and his ways of doing things that not many people would agree with, he is very much doing a good job in his way of keeping Real Madrid among the game's elite in a very testing time without the mega money ownership of Qatar, UAE, Russia, where a lot of the big European powers are now getting their money.
You've preempted there my next question, which was going to be about Jose Mourinho. How live an option was he?
In the president's mind, he was very much an alive option. Every time the positions become available in the last few years, Mourinho has been linked because Perez likes him. Didn't really want him to leave in the first place. He sees him as a person to challenge Barcelona's supremacy, as he partially did in his previous spell there. But the problem is nobody else really had any time for him. There was so much revolt against Mourinho within the playing squad, within the club's hierarchy, within the media, even within the fans. I remember his last game as Real Madrid manager, when his name was read out at the Bernabeu, half the fans cheered, half the fans booed. And, you know, bringing someone in who has that kind of divisiveness and would from day one was too much in the end, even for Perez, especially with Zidane making himself available again.
Yeah. It's been fairly disastrous since he left, as we know and as we've talked about at this stage. I mean, the Lopetegui saga feels like ancient history at that stage, at this stage rather, and Solari has lasted, 119 days, and things haven't gone very well for him. No. Any sense of the strife behind the scenes? Like, there was talk of an issue certainly between Ramos and Perez. There were reports after the Ajax loss that Ramos entered the changing room, criticised the players, even threatened to sack Ramos.
Yeah, that's a story that's gone round in the last few days, that they had this altercation. Perez regularly goes into the dressing room after games. Obviously, he wasn't at all happy after this one. Ramos was in there even though he hadn't played. He was suspended. Tensions are running high, and they're obviously the two senior figures within the club, really, the captain and the president. And they went at it in front of everyone. And, Perez said, OK, well, you can go. Ramos said, fine, pay me and I'll go. You know, it's difficult to know how seriously we should take that kind of argument in the heat of a moment after a horrific loss like that. And we understand that the situation has cooled a bit since then. But there's no guarantee that Ramos will be kept. Zidane has said there will be changes and there will be players who leave. Ramos is older now, he's in his 30s, and it may be that if the club receives a decent offer for him, that they decide to go ahead with someone else and make someone else the leader of that dressing room. I think it's unlikely. Ramos is such a strong figure with his colleagues as well. I think he'll be kept, but it just shows the turmoil they're in and the strong leadership they need, and that was what the key to Zidane's first spell was, the way he kept everyone together at all times, that unity that he instilled that has just gone missing since he left.
How does he do that, by the way, beyond his presence and his reputation, which players can become unimpressed with very quickly if the general methodology isn't good? How does Zidane go about his business with the players?
I think it's the way he treats them. He treats them respectfully. You know, the presence is very important, and his reputation. He is an absolute icon at that club. Imagine Lionel Messi going into the Barcelona dressing room in 15 years after he's retired. The respect he will automatically generate there. It's the same with Zidane. That's the way he's regarded at that club. But it's his manner as well. He is a respectful person. He treats the players like adults, and they appreciate that. They don't want to coach. As we heard from Ramos, when the idea was floated of Antonio Conte being appointed midway through this season, they don't want a coach coming in and telling them what to do and treating them like kids and then giving them discipline. They want a coach who will treat them fairly, show them respect, be strong with them when needed, but treat them like adults and treat them like the elite professionals they are. And Zidane does that with, there's a great sense of gravity that he has. When he walks into a room, even if it's just a press conference, he's magnetic. He's not really charismatic because he's so softly spoken and calm, but he is magnetic, and he has that aura that the players just respond to en masse. And he manages, and this was the amazing thing he did, he manages to make everyone feel a part of everything. He manages to make all the players feel important, even if they're not playing. There was one or two who didn't, and the obvious one was Dani Ceballos, who said not long ago that if Zidane had stayed, he would leave, which doesn't put him in a great position now. But that was an exception. Nearly everyone stayed on Zidane's side and stayed with that unity, that message of unity that everyone can spout. It's easy to talk about the importance of sticking together and we're all one team, but actually Zidane meant it and the players bought into it. So I think he'll be able to quickly reimpose that message and get the players to buy in and just keep them ticking over till the end of the season, try to make sure there's no more massive dramas, and then start planning.
Yeah, 11 games left. That attitude and demeanour you talk about, that was evident in that video. I don't think it leaked out. I think it was released of the halftime Champions League final chat where Zidane, he was almost just suggestive and calm, like suggesting they think about going down the flanks a bit more. This was not a banging the table, you've been terrible, you need to do it this way, you need to do it my way. It was just, as you said, with a certain gravity that comes with being Zinedine Zidane. He said, look, I do think if you do that, if you just step 5 yards up the pitch and if you do attack the flanks a bit more, you'll get goals. And you know, it seemed to bear fruit. So that ties in with what you're saying. Gareth Bale is an interesting one because all the reporting around Bale is that one of the main reasons he decided to stay on for this season, and I'm sure Ronaldo's departure may have been part of it, but one of the key reasons was Zidane's departure.
Yes, and Bale openly admitted not long ago that he wasn't getting on at all well with Zidane by the time he left. And it's very, very hard at the moment to see Bale still at the club next season unless they can't find anyone who will pay him. That's a big thing, that Bale is under contract. And if you put yourself in the shoes of another big European club, he's 30, or he will be 30 in the summer. He's injury prone, and he's on massive wages. Who's going to take a chance on him? It would be a massive gamble for a club like Manchester United, the kind of club who could afford his wages, PSG, maybe Juventus. These clubs are the only ones who could afford his wages. But would they want him, a 30-year-old who's injured as much as he's fit and has really had a poor couple of years, barring the odd good game or two? The obvious romantic idea is that he'll go back to Tottenham. They can't afford his wages. He'll only go back there if he realises he has no future at Real Madrid and is prepared to accept a massive drop in wages. Other than that, he could sit it out, wait at Real Madrid, accept he's not going to play, but wait for the club to give him an offer he can't refuse, to leave, if you like, to accept a drop in wages, that they'll give him a golden handshake so that he can make that compensation the other way. So it's going to be interesting. You can't see him playing much under Zidane, but who will want him? I think that's the interesting question.
Yeah, I know. There's talk of the first moves have been made towards Eden Hazard. Maybe he's a make weight in the deal. Maybe Chelsea might be a club that he'd be interested in. But I agree with you,
if Chelsea were allowed to sign him, that's a good point.
Of course,
yeah. They'd have to get their ban overturned or held. So we'll see. But that is a possibility if Chelsea are allowed to. Yeah.
It is worth remembering as well that Real Madrid finished 17 points behind the league winners in Zidane's final year. So, things were good under Zidane, certainly from a Champions League point of view, and they did win a league. More than good in a Champions League point of view, I should say, in fairness. It was rather ridiculous. But that 17-point gap, you suspect that was one of the key reasons Zidane got out of town?
Yeah, and I think we go back to, as well as that, there was a cup game. Their Copa del Rey exit last season was against Leganés, their tiny local rivals. And I think it was at that point that Zidane knew that he wasn't going to be able to maintain his success with the club. By that stage, the league had already gone. Last season's La Liga, they were already a long, long way behind, and all they had to play for was the Champions League. Obviously, it turned out very well for them, but I think you talk to anyone in football, they'll tell you the true test of a team is the league, where it's 38 games, you play everyone, home and away, all sorts of conditions, form, injuries, they all come into it, and that is the true test of a team. And really, Zidane only had one good season. As you say, last season they were a long way behind Barcelona. They're actually closer now to Barcelona than they were under Zidane, which is a bit bizarre. And it was the Champions League that they were able to summon the strength to win through their individual quality, really, rather than through being a great team. And he will have to improve them a lot to get them to be competitive with not just Barcelona, but Atlético Madrid are strong as well, and look like they'll continue to be strong. So, yeah, he did do it once. The season they won La Liga, they were outstanding that season. The last 6 months of that season, when they won everything, that they were brilliant. But that was really pretty isolated and an otherwise unconvincing spell where they just turned it on for the Champions League.
Yeah, there's very interesting times ahead because Zidane's stock was not high considering what he had won at Real Madrid when he left the job. You know, Manchester United fans were not crying out for Zidane to pitch up at Old Trafford. If he manages to go in and do a really good job this time around, then I think everybody will say, okay, this guy is a top quality manager. But given what he's managed to do in his short time as a manager, his stock didn't really equate with the achievement.
And same with Luis Enrique at Barcelona. You know, he won the treble. Then the following year he left, and he was hardly inundated with offers. Eventually he ended up taking the Spain job, and a lot of people are looking at him there going, I'm not sure about him still. So it's a similar situation because they had such great players. Obviously slight different tweaks of how that was achieved at Barcelona and Real Madrid respectively, but look at those two managers. How many people would say Luis Enrique and Zinedine Zidane are among the best 5 managers in the world? Not many people would say that, despite everything they've both won. So, yeah, Zidane, strange as it sounds, does still have something to prove as a manager.
Andy, great stuff. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, as always. Cheers.
There you go, Andy West, speaking to us earlier on about Zinedine Zidane. Andy, I'm sure watching the Atlético Madrid game at the moment. 69 minutes on the clock now. Juventus 2, Atlético 0. Dybala has just come off the bench for Juventus. Meanwhile, Raheem Sterling has scored a 4th for Manchester City. 4-0.
5-0 now, I think.
5-0.
Bernardo Silva, I think, for 5-0.
Okay.
If the live reports are correct. So there you go.
So City cruising, and Juve Atletico, very interesting. 20 minutes to go. A goal for Atletico pretty much wins them the game. But
yeah,
it's hard to start when you haven't been attacking all game.
Extra time, yeah. We're heading for extra time at this stage, which could be bring us a bit more drama. Even as we speak now, Juventus are actually on the break.
Yeah, Juventus look dangerous, I must say.
Yeah, no, they've really been at it tonight. Like from the first they really did set the tone early, and they've punished Atletico Madrid for being a bit sort of tentative in terms of how they approached it. And I don't know, I can only imagine being a player in that scenario, Atletico scenario, they're stuck in that scenario now. They're being inhibited for the evening, and they're trying to break out of it. It's not, you know, their game plan has been interrupted, and
Champions League has been rather brilliant over the last couple of weeks. It's continuing tonight.
That's beautifully set and beautiful.
Off the ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
Lunchtime Live.
This week, News Talk is exploring all that Northern Ireland has to offer. So far, we've been to Belfast and Derry, and tomorrow I'll be continuing the exploration as Lunchtime Live comes from the stunning shoreline of Lough Erne in Fermanagh. All thanks to Discover Northern Ireland.
Lunchtime Live with Ciara Kelly.
Thanks to VideoDoc.
Live from Lochern tomorrow at midday.
On News Talk.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only, minimum deposit and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
When you're a small business, you always want to find the biggest savings. When it comes to your energy, that means going direct to Energia. Go direct to save more. Call 1850 363 744 or visit energia.ie/business. Energia, the power behind even bigger savings. Standard terms and conditions apply.
Free installation on all freestanding appliances. I like. Oh, just because I'm a glamorous international celebrity doesn't mean I don't like a good bargain, you know. Washing machines, dryers, fridge freezers, dishwashers. Get free installation on all freestanding appliances right now. They'll even take away your old one for free. See the full range and shop now at appliancesdelivered.ie.
No one does Cheltenham quite like QuinBet. With a huge selection of markets on horse racing, plus all your favourite sports. We've got you covered right through the festival and beyond. And now with live casino and Irish lottery betting, you can find us on mobile, app and PC. QuinBet.com. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly. Visit gambleaware.ie.
Shed your winter wardrobe and break out your sunnies. Book an early summer break with Aer Lingus with up to 25% off destinations across Europe from May. Get ready to soak up the sun in hotspots like Dubrovnik, Corfu or Athens. Or explore the sights of great European cities like Amsterdam, Paris and London. Smart books an early summer break now. Smart flies Aer Lingus. Book now at airlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
And they're off. Into the lead goes backseat driver, followed by Pure bombing it and Fred in the shed. Close in behind comes out for a spin and 0%. Also making good headway now is Skoda approved used car who's travelling very smoothly. Backseat driver just in front from 0%. Skoda approved used car finishing best of all and is sweeping past his rivals. Skoda approved used car is an impressive winner.
A Skoda approved used car goes through a 110-point check, which means it's never a gamble. For a used car that's zero risk, visit your local Skoda dealer.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back. Still 2-0 Juventus against Atletico. 77 minutes on the clock. That's 2-2 on aggregate. And Manchester City, as we mentioned, 5-0 up now against Schalke. 78 minutes on the clock. They are cruising. Bernardo Silva on the 71st minute. A reminder, Liverpool fans, we have a massive show coming your way at the end of the month. We're going to be at the RDS with some Liverpool legends with thanks to Boyle Sports, and we'll have more details over the coming days. Tickets are going to go fast, so keep an ear out and we'll let you know how you can get them in the next few days. Dan, Declan Rice named FAI Young Player of the Year. Won't be picking up his award in Dublin. This is on this Sunday, the awards.
Would have been great if he just decided to come over and take his award.
Stony silence as Declan walked to the stage.
Taking it.
I deserve it. I've earned it.
Yeah.
3 times I was man of the match. Certainly twice.
Was a proud Irish international.
And still has a place in his heart for Ireland. So much consternation about this. Do you agree with the general sense out there that we have made a laughing stock of ourselves, and it's appeared on the said and done type sections of newspapers around the world?
Yeah.
Those Irish. I don't feel any real sense of embarrassment.
As I said, there's different views. I mean, Aidan Fitzmaurice said the Independent website sort of had a piece, I suppose, condemning the decision. I think, there was probably a no-win element to this. Once, this decision would have been made by a panel some months ago. Should at that point the decision have been made when he opted to go elsewhere to pull it, to pull the award, that probably might have been the way to go. It still would have attracted some comment, but come Sunday, it might be a lot of other things going on in the sporting world. Yeah, sure, people will go, well, they got rid of the award. Yeah. But probably preferable to this. But it is still a story that, of course, says, you set it up for a cheap guy, you add it to the happy birthday tweet and the Young Player of the Year award, and you can construct a story very easily there.
We just can't quit you, Declan.
Yeah, so I can see why you're just going to have to take it either way. There was just no good way. I do think it sort of puts the spotlight on him in a weird way too. It's probably an uncomfortable one for him also.
I think it would have appeared petty and would have been petty to withdraw the award or to give it to someone else who clearly wasn't as good as Declan Rice was last year.
Yeah.
It's the Player of the Year award. He was the Young Player of the Year.
You can't give it to someone. I know for a fact, like if Aidan O'Brien if he wins the award, I know that someone would have said, well, actually, he didn't win the award. It'd be very hard to.
And he would know as well.
Yes. So I think.
What could be more embarrassing than a sympathy fake second place award?
I think that would be bad. So I think, as I said, the argument is maybe just declare the actual award itself null and void for the year that's in it. Is that probably the best solution? Possibly it would have been. But it's a very easy one to say from this remove.
I think the only laughing stock is international competition, international football. The fact that this can happen. That's the only laughing stock. And I actually think then next on the list is Declan Rice. Now I've no issue. I'm far from the first to get up and have a go at Declan Rice. I think he was mostly pretty genuine in the way the whole thing unfolded, and it got a bit tricky for him, no doubt.
Well, I still don't think he handled it especially well. But that's neither. That's by the by. Let's not go there again.
No, the point I was going to make though is that he would be, after international football looking a bit ridiculous, he'll probably feel a bit ridiculous because it highlights the fact that he did come and play 3 times for the bloody country and was the Young Player of the Year. So I think if anyone feels a bit silly, it's more so him. And then international football looks a bit ridiculous. I don't think the FAI does. Like, the circumstances are very clear. He was the Young Player of the Year because he did actually play 3 times. It's not like Declan Rice never played for Ireland and we still decided to give him Young Player of the Year award in a bid to try and tempt him over. Then we look like idiots.
Yeah.
I think it's obvious. If someone goes, but hang on, why did he get Young Player of the Year award? He's declared for England. Well, the reason is he played 3 times for Ireland and was really good, so he got the award. No,
I wasn't on the panel this year.
Who would you have given it to?
Declan Rice.
And who would you have given it to if they came back and said, lads, it looks like he's heading for England?
I think at that point, I still think I think once Rice declared, the decision to be made about pulling the award. But otherwise, I remember doing a piece on this at one point saying that in the autumn that Rice wasn't just the favourite for young player. He could have been arguably the favourite for senior player at that stage, because Ireland's games early part of the year had gone so badly. They'd been the man of the match in 3 friendlies, and Ireland hadn't taken a point in the Nations League at that stage or hadn't scored a goal.
So really, he should have got Player of the Year.
He would have been, honestly, if he'd declared for Ireland, he would have been on the short list, I'd say, for the senior award.
And you've already sort of answered this point. Could the panel not just have awarded it to someone else and said nothing about the original pick and bring no attention to it? Dan's point is it
would have been highlighted. I can tell you it would have been highlighted.
Declan Rice was the Young Player of the Year, that everybody, including the other recipient, would have known what had happened here. And you're probably right when you say the hedging your bets chance. Oh, chance for Juventus. Oh, it's pulled wide. It was a big chance for Juventus. 1-on-1 down the left-hand side, 82 minutes in the clock. It probably would have seen them through. We're just going to see who the player was. It was a ball over the top, really good ball over the top, and player in on goal. Takes a touch, tight angle, really tight angle, and so pulls it wide. And it stays 2-0 to Juventus on the night, 2-2 on aggregate.
Yeah, it's a Moise Kean. He's a Italian national. He's only a teenager, so I'm not 100% sure in the pronunciation, but it was a good chance.
But sorry, your point. So take a chance and just don't have a Young Player of the Year award. Hope nobody notices. There's lots going on in the world. It only takes one person to notice, and then a story to be in the papers. Why was this award not given out? And then within 24 hours, a few people have put in some inquiries, and the headlines you have then on Tuesday are FAI petty, refused to give out award to Declan Rice, even though the Soccer Writers Association gave it to him, and that looks quite bad too.
Actually, they wouldn't even require that, Joe, because the people that were on the panel would know.
Oh yeah,
There wouldn't be an inquiry made.
A bunch of journalists know what's happening.
It was already known that Declan Rice had won the award.
I didn't know.
But obviously it's all under embargo. So the people, it's been known for some time that he'd won it and what they were going to do about it.
So Monday morning the story would have been there from a bunch of the journalists on the
100%.
Yeah, so does that not look worse?
I mean, that young player award's been nonsense in recent years. They had to put it up from 23 to 25 because one year, I don't think any Irish, I think maybe one or two Irish players had played who qualified for the criteria for under 23. So they had to put it up to 25. The irony is this is one year we actually had a proper candidate who played and ticked the box. But in recent years, there's the argument for dumping it would have been pretty strong because people aren't going to miss it. Hopefully that changes in years to come. We have loads of young players involved with the international team, But there was no good way around it, I have to say. But I wouldn't be outraged by it. I think there's other things to be outraged by in Irish football. This really would not be up there for me.
No, nor me.
I have to say.
Nor me. I'm not that exercised.
Take your energy to other issues in Irish football, but this one is over. He's gone, and he did win the award. So.
Mike Dean, is that a penalty for Juventus? Oh, I think it might be. I think it might be a penalty for Juventus.
Is there forlorn looks?
Oh, I think it might be. Or have they gone to VAR or what's happening?
Well,
there's an Atletico player.
There'll be a bit of both, I suppose, but the decision looks to have been made.
We're in the 85th minute, and it's 2-2 on aggregate, 2-0 Juventus on the night.
7-0 Man City, by the way, just on a tangent, but this is where the drama is.
It's inside the box. It's either a shove in the back or a clip of the heels. It's a shove in the back. Oh, if they go to VAR, you have to give that.
I think you have to give it.
Not to give you the old cliche, Dan, but anywhere else on
Bernardeschi again racing into the area, and
Atletico number 10 gives him a shove.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit soft. It's pretty dumb. It's a really stupid foul to give away. But if that's anywhere else on the field, then it kind of has to be a free kick. So.
Yeah, is it Angel Correa, I think, with the foul, I think.
Yeah, it's a penalty.
Like Madrid, so yeah.
The ball's already been put in the spot. There's a lot of people in the area. Ronaldo is going to take a penalty. He's looking around, telling everyone to get out of the bloody box. Penalty's been given. There's a bit of shoving between several players.
No, it's a blatant penalty. There's a booking being handed out, but yeah, Bernardeschi with the run, Correa at the foul.
Oh my goodness. Juventus, this is extraordinary. I didn't see 3-0.
No, I think we said earlier, and it's aged very well, that Atletico aren't the type of team to concede 3 goals in this scenario.
You literally said it, and I said, go on, you can say it, it's fine.
Yeah, so Ronaldo, I mean, it's just made. It's just made for him. He didn't win the penalty, but this is the scenario he dreams about most nights.
Ronaldo for the hat-trick, Ronaldo to put Juventus through. Players ready to run in. Here goes Ronaldo, steps up and smash, and keeper goes the wrong way. It's a goal. Juventus are going through to the next round. It's a hat-trick for Ronaldo. Keeper dived to keeper's left. Ronaldo hit it the other side, low and hard, into the side netting. And this is, you have to say, 3-0 against Atletico under the circumstances is bloody impressive.
Could this be their year? This competition is swinging in different ways. And, Real out of the equation.
Yeah.
Ronaldo still in it. Now, there's still 4 minutes to go here, so we're going to see a siege, I assume.
Nobody's lost more finals than Juventus.
Yeah, I mean, their recent history of the competition is sort of fraught with near misses, but this is definitely one of the better nights. So there'll be a fair bit of stoppage time here, I have to say, with the debates over certain decisions here. So we've got 4+ stoppage, so we could have another 9 minutes of football in this game.
So Mike Dean then, who's been Premier League referee for a long time, I think since about 2000. Mike Dean, he's
definitely one of the older ones on the beat.
His match report has been published or leaked out, I'm not sure which, after the Pochettino incident against Burnley a couple of weeks back. This was after they lost 2-1. So Pochettino pretty much held his hands up and he got a 2-game touchline ban and was fined £10,000 by the FA. The FA has written its reasons for the punishment, and so Dean's report is included in part of the written statement. And so Pochettino waiting for him at the tunnel at Turf Moor. And in his match report, Dean says, at the conclusion of the game, I was approached on the field of play by Tottenham Hotspur head coach Mauricio Pochettino and some members of his coaching staff. Mr. Pochettino acted in a very irresponsible and aggressive manner. He wouldn't stop saying, "You know what you are."
He wasn't singing it like a terrorist chant. I mean, it is sort of a, you know what you are.
And Mike Dean said, I then said on numerous occasions to go away, at least 10 times, and he wouldn't get out of my personal space, and then he started pointing his finger just a few inches from my face, saying, "You know what you are." He then left me alone, left the field of play. When I reached the tunnel, he's waiting at the top of the stairs, and again he kept saying, "You know what you are."
So if you are going to have a go at a referee, it's a good way of approaching it.
Very clever.
There's no specific.
You're a bloody good referee.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant. When you're up in front of the panel, eventually it's like, well, I was telling him what exactly. I was telling him what he was.
Apparently, if he hadn't apologised, Pochettino, and admitted to the whole thing, instead of 2 matches and a 10 grand fine, he would have got 3 matches and a 16 grand fine. So. Yeah. So is Mike Dean really, like, he's a divisive figure in terms of speaking about... irritating.
Yeah, what was the words? Irresponsible and aggressive manner. Okay, you couldn't accuse Mike Dean of that, to be fair. But I suppose at times on the pitch he's very expressive for a referee. He hasn't necessarily ticked the boxes for what you would imagine referees are taught in terms of on-pitch demeanour.
I get the...
was he the one who sort of was celebrating a good counter-attack he did at one point?
I get the distinct impression from...
He was responsible for?
Somebody who works on the show occasionally.
Playing advantage, yeah.
Maybe has been reffed by Mike Dean, maybe hasn't.
Who could that be?
Yeah. That he can say things which are incredibly irritating on the pitch to players.
Yeah, and that I always find those tales... I mean, okay, you can flip this 2 ways and say, well, actually, sometimes referees get awful stick, for like throw-ins and decisions, and maybe that person you're speaking to could be a owner on the pitch from time to time, might be known for that, who knows. But I think there is something grating when you hear tales of referees saying something on the pitch that's only going to inflame a situation.
Yeah.
Maybe there's referees out there saying, no, why not? Good on him. Give a bit back sometimes. He gets grief all the time. But I guess, I certainly, in the League of Ireland sphere, I've heard a couple of stories of a couple of referees making comments that would be way out of line. Yeah. And I think that is the type of thing that would completely wind up players in a spectacular way. And he certainly seems to grab the cameras for whatever reason, Mike Dean. I mean, maybe it's coincidence, or maybe the cameras love him.
You know what you are. So Joey Barton is the Fleetwood boss, and he's talking about Paddy Madden.
Yeah.
He's saying that this guy could earn a place in the Ireland squad.
The once capped Paddy Madden, who was capped
under Trapattoni?
Yeah, back in Wales. I remember this before Wales were good. It was a pretty grim Wales-Ireland friendly. I think it was towards the end of Trapp. It might have been August 2013, I think. And Paddy Madden at the time had fired Yeovil into the Championship, and he was sort of in vogue, very well known to sort of like Bohemians fans, League of Ireland player. And yeah, Paddy Madden is sort of, he went to Scunthorpe and went to Fleetwood. He's been scoring goals consistently at League One level, I guess, across his time in England. And the debate about Paddy Madden would be, well, if James Collins and Pádraig Amond are in the squad, or in the enlarged squad, let's see if they're in the final squad, then why not Paddy Madden, someone who's been very consistent at that level? I mean, it's definitely a valid argument when you've got players from League One and League Two being called up without Paddy Madden necessarily have, he hasn't had this, like he was a hype player, not a hype player, it was deserved. There was a buzz around him that there is around Collins now, because he was with a team that was challenging for promotion, whereas Fleetwood have been a bit more middle of the road this year, so maybe that's why there's been no real clamour for the call. But I certainly have heard the point made by people who will say, well, I mean, if you're looking for a guy who can put the ball in the net, Madden sort of does that, but Fleetwood are tense, so their season isn't necessarily going anywhere that exciting.
Yeah.
But he's always been like Paddy Madden is a goal poacher, I guess, and I think when he was younger there was a feeling maybe he needed a lot of chances to score one, but he's actually become a very consistent goal scorer across his time. He generally gets to double figures, and who knows, maybe if he was playing with a team at the top of the table that was creating stacks of chances, maybe his goal return will be bigger. But he never really is pushed on to championship level. But then again, that could be said about other people that are in the list.
So what we have at the moment is Shane Long, Sean Maguire, Ronan Curtis of Portsmouth, Scott Hogan, Aidan O'Brien, David McGoldrick. Who's tonight, I must say, Sheffield United with 10 men for most of the game, and they're pushing for promotion from the Championship, have beaten Brentford 2-0 with David McGoldrick scoring the second goal, brought off the bench at half-time for Scott Hogan. But Sheffield United actually are a great Irish, I know you're talking strikers, Sheffield United are a great Irish story generally, because Enda Stevens, John Egan, McGoldrick, and I mean, that's a massive win for them tonight. But yeah, McGoldrick's certainly someone who's going to be in the squad because Nick McCarthy has said it. James Collins and Pádraig Amond, who we all know about, given his FA Cup exploits, he's been on the show a few times. Is the pick of the bunch there Sean Maguire?
I think Maguire
He's the starting
Maguire. I think McGoldrick's just got a real chance as a 10, playing behind him. But I think as a starting 9, I think you're talking Maguire. Obviously, Patrick Bamford has played for Leeds tonight, but he's not going to be around in this squad.
Yeah.
Shane Long really is the Premier League player, has scored the most goals at international level, has played the most Premier League games. Yeah, hasn't really been discussed, talked about that much. Maybe he's forgotten because McCarthy hasn't been asked about him, or is there a feeling that he needs to go with someone who's been in form a bit more? Whereas Long, it just has been in and out of the side really at Southampton, and his goal record just hasn't been good over a number of seasons. But it may well be that we're having this debate and it's Shane Long number 9 and that's it. I mean, it's plausible that could be the scenario too.
Okay. So Dave's been in touch. I got to tell someone this, and I can't be arsed putting it on Facebook. It would strike me it's as easy to put it on Facebook as to text into us, Dan.
I'll go for it.
I'll continue on. I just saw a chap walking a cat on a lead down here in Waterford. I think I'm having some sort of episode, says Ken.
Sorry, saw what?
Is it Ken or Dave? It's Ken. He saw a chap walking a cat on a lead.
Right.
Like you would a dog, but a cat in Waterford. Are there any breeds of cats who need walking like that?
I don't know.
Unlikely, I'd say. I'm no veterinarian.
And I mean, I didn't expect to cover this particular topic tonight.
Anyone out there walk their cat? You've about 4 minutes of the show left to let us know.
Could be a particularly troublesome cat.
What if you just wanted to get out for a walk and you thought, sod it, I want a bit of company. My cat's going to get used to walking on a lead. It can't be that tough on the cat.
Yeah, I assume the cat has watched dogs do it from time to time.
Cats walk.
Cats fighting like cats and dogs.
Yeah.
So do we want to just emulate them?
I think it's obviously a little bit.
Do you own a dog or a cat, Joe?
No, I used to have a cat.
I don't. I've never owned either. So I'm no expert in this.
I never took the cat for a walk with a lead, but I think it's just as weird as taking a dog for a walk. When you think about it.
Do you take a cat for a walk as a
No,
thing?
no, you don't. Jeez, no, you don't. No, like Ken says...
Cat will just head off.
Ken says, am I having some sort of episode? The cat doesn't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
The cat's got its own business going on, and when it's hungry or tired...
So this could be a very trustworthy cat.
Maybe it will talk to you. Cat on a lead trend is causing pet distress, says the RSPCA. JP's just put that through.
Oh.
So apparently it's not the done thing. Cats do not like being on a lead, and the RSPCA has warned against it.
See, we need people who own cats to avoid the previous minute that we just had there.
Gone full time in Turin. More importantly, it's don't walk your cat is the short version there.
Don't walk the cat then.
Juventus are through. Shots of Pavel Nedved in the crowd there. Why didn't I name him when I was naming Juve players?
I said they'd never lost a knockout tie Atleti in 8 years under Simeone after winning the first leg. In all competitions.
Ronaldo hat-trick. Extraordinary stuff. Amazing scenes. They're going a bit ballistic, as you might imagine, in Turin. We're going to take a very short break. Oh, sorry. Do I have 1 second? Just before we leave the Irish Wrap, I did want to ask, because you mentioned it in the paper on Monday, that Robbie Brady's return is progressing very slowly. Where's Brady at the moment?
Yeah, he's at Burnley. It's gone under the radar. Gone under the radar a small bit, but he's
not playing.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but since he's come back from long-term injury, I noticed he hasn't actually started a Premier League game since before Christmas.
Yeah,
which is, I mean, we're doing all these hypothetical Irish sides, and Brady's in all of them, but actually he's not been in the Burnley side at all. And I'm wondering, is this something that we should be a bit alarmed about? I think with Coleman and other people's travails, this one has probably slipped under the radar a small bit, but Burnley's form is flagging, and he just hasn't really, he's about 27, 28 now, Robbie Brady. So he should be playing every week in the Premier League.
Off the ball on News Talk.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index, reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only, minimum deposit and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
So they said, Deirdre, we want you to be the voice of appliances delivered. I'll want a few juicy perks, says I. I'll want the fastest delivery and hassle-free installation on everything I buy, and I want the very best prices. And you can take away all my old appliances and all the annoying cardboard as well. You're on, they said. Tough negotiator, aren't I?
Deirdre, they do that for everyone.
Shut the fridge door. Okay, then I want that fridge to be full of champagne, and I want the washing machine filled with very expensive lingerie and a massive telly. Shop Shop the full range and see how much you can save at appliancesdelivered.ie.
It's the colour, the style, the music, the crack, the excitement at the heart of one of Ireland's favourite festivals. It's the thrill of experiencing the best in racing over 5 action-packed days. This is what it's all about. The Punchestown Festival, Tuesday, April 30th to Saturday, May 4th. Tickets from €30 at punchestown.com. It's your kind of town.
Woohoo! Brain cells!
Why is Hunch pretending to ride a horse?
It's the Cheltenham Festival.
I know, but he's not usually this happy.
He's just seen Betway's latest odds on Cheltenham.
Ah, no wonder. Hunch loves getting something back. Woohoo! He's not going to try and jump that, is he?
No.
Yeehaw! Oh.
Yes.
Heed your hunch with Betway at Cheltenham. Bet responsibly. 18 plus. For support and information, see dunlewy.net.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
So, sorry, we've run out of time there a little bit. Apparently there's a slew of texts coming in about people walking rabbits, Dan, which we'll have to... Hold your breath, Dan, hold your fire. We'll get into that tomorrow. OTBAM back tomorrow, 7:45am on all our social channels. Then we'll have Wednesday Night Rugby with Keith Wood and Rory O'Connor and the latest from Day 2 at Cheltenham. Dan's going to be back on the football show. We'll have Tim Vickery telling us about Philippe Coutinho, the forgotten man at Barcelona amongst the Champions League action in Munich especially. Tom Dunn on the way.